send us to do it tomorrow at midnight?
Yeah,
Not tonight.
correct. Hey, how's it going?
And I have? Yeah.
We're using GitHub Pages.
Yeah.
Is there any button, or is it like what happens here? Is it already published or not?
No, it just it's not on page. They just very different.
Oh, I see. I see. You figure it out? I did this once in my life. I did. See if I got different route because it seems like you have. Wait. I'm not sure. The only thing I can think of is maybe because it's a private repository, maybe it won't go, or maybe do you already have a GitHub pages on your GitHub account? You've done it before in another repository, Okay. Not sure why it's not showing that. Now, what's the is it an Express app?
Yeah.
I think for the GitHub pages, it doesn't like Express, right? Because it's only static pages, like regular HTML. It doesn't know what to do with the server side. Express. GitHub pages is like DreamHost. It only wants just static HTML, static JavaScript, static. Don't put it on GitHub pages. Put it on either Azure or.
It's already done. But I'm going to this domain.
Yeah, but the problem is, I think I know what the problem is. I think the problem is the code that you're trying to force into GitHub pages doesn't make sense to GitHub because it doesn't know what to do with any kind of node stuff. It doesn't know what to do with any kind of Express stuff. All it knows is output HTML static. So it's impossible to. Is this for the bonus thing? Now, I believe in your GitHub education pack, I think there's a.
Там такой ветер сильный. На поле меня нахрен сносило просто. Так бежала. Вот я что сижу, а я, по-моему, что-то в лекцию досматривала. Там такая, надо накраситься. Смотрю, типа,
It's from Namecheap.
Yeah, this. А мне в 10:35 надо выйти, чтобы
Oh, okay. So then just put it to the .c domain.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. But it's not connected. It needs some connection with GitHub pages.
Is that what you're saying? Now.
Everything is done.
Yes.
Just publish that link to this URL, because even it says that it's like.
Yeah, but I don't think GitHub.
And that's what I read about it. It's client-side. Doesn't really understand.
It's only client-side. GitHub Pages. I don't. My first instinct is I don't think GitHub Pages is the feature you want to make it link up to your .me. I don't think that's what you want. I think.
Давай выйди из класса, я тебя вот так вот.
So you will share it from redirect the video into this.
Is there?
Я так не поняла, что это было за афера такая.
Yeah. I think what you need to do is do that Heroku to .me. However, does that cost money? I don't know. Is there?
There's some way to move the URL that we have to the new URL.
Yeah.
Like we did.
Yeah.
So if I can have your viewers.
Now, DigitalOcean is sort of like
There's no use because it's already
Or you have Azure, right? You could post it on Azure, and then in Namecheap.me, if you log into Namecheap namesheet.com or Namesheet, whatever their website is. Go and create your own account. I believe you can redirect somewhere in your account. You can say point to Azure when anyone wants to go to myname.me, actually point to Azure. I think that's how it works.
So we could do it to a bit of a small. We don't need actually get to because if you are sending it to Azure or AWS,
I think in Azure though, see, it's been so long. In Azure, there should be a setting as well that says yes, except this long distance connection. So you can't just say any website, because that would be bad. So there has to be both ways. So under namesheet.com, there has to be some kind of setting where you can point to Azure. Under Azure, there has to be some kind of setting that says yes, I accept, something like that. It's been so long since I did that. So yeah, but that's the answer. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Okay. Okay. What time is it? 11:08. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 people. Okay. Let us start. Where's my announcement? All right. Welcome back to week 6. We are pretty much completed the first half almost. Just the midterm to go next week. I'll talk about the midterm in class just a little bit later. Couple of announcements. I've marked all of your labs. Everyone pretty much got a 4. Everyone got a 4 out of 4. However, I've noticed a couple of things. And for those of you who are trying to do the bonus for the node mail, for the email, so for your contact form to work, and most of you have tried installing Node Mailer, for example, I've noticed you've hard-coded your Gmail authentication credentials in there. So the tip of the day is don't put your Gmail credentials in your Node Mailer code. Rather, put it in your variables.env file and then access it through process.env.whatever. Okay, that way when you upload to GitHub, no one can kind of hack their way to find your credentials. Yeah.
This kind of raises the next question. If we are deploying our app through the GitHub repository, how is the file magically going to end up on the server if you install on GitHub because you don't want to push the password?
Say that again.
Like, because basically we've been doing so far with Heroku or Azure.
Yes.
It builds up from your GitHub repository.
Yes.
So does that mean that from now on you need to do like a vocab push to Azure so it doesn't use GitHub because GitHub wouldn't have the environment variables, so it will have the password.
Oh. Okay, so Dasha is saying that there's a place in Heroku where you can actually say your variables.env stuff.
Will that act like being able to build it in the future?
You know what? I'll have to try it myself. I thought it would just seamlessly work, but maybe not.
You know what I'm saying?
What was that?
You get what I'm saying.
I think so, but especially what Dasha said. That what you just said, Dasha, reminded me of something. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll get back to you. I'll try it myself and uploading it to Azure and see what happens. Whether or not I have to create my own variables.env in some other way through Azure, I don't know. Amanda, yeah. For the Node Mailer, assuming that you're using Node Mailer and you go to their NPM page, you'll see an example code that you just copy and paste into your code, and you just have to change the credentials. Is that what you mean? Oh, okay. No, okay, hold on. You know what? Let me just go to npm.yam Node Mailer. All I'm suggesting is this. Oh, where did it go? There. So this stuff here, you probably copied and pasted their stuff, right? This stuff. So all I'm suggesting is that this host information, this port information of 587. So this, you could put this in your variables.env file, and then for this line, you can say process.env.host, just like how you define your database. Remember that last class where where I corrected your database equals Mongo? Yeah, so in addition to that database equals Mongo, underneath that, you could say host equals Gmail, whatever, port equals whatever. And then here in this code, you could access that by saying process.env.host or process.env.port. That's what I mean. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question? Anything? Okay. Okay. Where's that file? Like, so let me open up a recent oh, you remember now? Yeah. So here's the sample project we did last week, and that file that you're talking about is right here, variables.env, where you open it up. And remember this? Remember how I debugged this for you? We spelled database incorrectly there. So underneath it, you could put in host, right? So here you can say host equals whatever Gmail, port, you know what I mean, Okay, that's all I want to mean. Okay, close that. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, and I don't know if you've seen that other video that I made, that 6-minute video, to try to record something that I missed because YouTube crapped out on me last week. But I mentioned that in your git ignore file. So let me go back to that. So when we said express -e --git my app, it created a .git ignore file, which is here, for example. But I noticed by default, if you scroll down to your env, where'd it go? It's right here. So by default, it just says .env. This will not prevent your variables.env from being uploaded to GitHub. So what you need to do is actually either specify the name variables.env, meaning to say, I do not want this file called variables.env to be uploaded to GitHub, or you could just say star, which means any file name with a .env extension will not be uploaded to GitHub. Either one of those will work. Okay. Cool. Close that up. Are there any questions or comments before we move on? Today's class, I think, will be a shorter class. That's okay because it'll give you time to ask me questions if you have any debugging questions. And now we can begin. Okay, so yeah, where did he go? Yeah, you mentioned this. Oh, forgive me. What's your name again? Dan. Yes, Dan. Dan, you suggested this last week, and I like this solution better. So if you ever have a port 3000 in use, press the infamous Control-Alt-Delete. Okay. You go to Task Manager. Really? Control-Alt-Escape works too? Oh, okay. And then now at first, if you've never used this before, you might get something that looks like this. Like say, what? Where's all the stuff? And then just click on the more details. And then so now you're under the processes tab, and here under background processes, you'll see every single program that's running under the hood right now, including Node. If Node was still running, like port 3000 is still used, if you get that error, you'll see this. Node.js is still running. Kill that. So just click on that. And there's a button called End Task on the bottom right corner of that window, and you're good to go. Thank you, Dan. Okay. So what we're going to do today is we're going to complete the whole CRUD functionality. We're going to know how to add data to mongoDB and MLab, how to delete, how to edit. And then we'll just briefly talk about the midterm. And then after that, it'll be my random experimentation and musings of interesting code that I've experimented with, if you care to stay for that. So I looked at the midterm, by the way, that you'll do next week. I tweaked it up a little bit just to make it slightly more challenging than Rich Freeman's, just very little. And all I used to help me for my midterm were these slides. So you are free to use these slides during the midterm. And all you need to know for the midterm is basically not today's stuff, but last week's stuff. So how to display data in a table. That's it. Okay. So these two slides, this one here, steps to build an express, that helped me for the midterm, and this one here, that's all you need to know. Today's class is this, the new stuff: how to add, how to delete, how to edit. Okay. Now, the prerequisites for today's class, each one of you should have a table already, because last class I asked you to create some kind of table on your own to see if you can display the data. I'm going to assume that some of you didn't, so I'm going to just step back a bit and recreate that table for you. As well, last class I created an add form, although it wasn't functioning yet, I just created it. I will step back a bit and create that add form as well, so that everyone's on the same page, and then we'll continue coding that add form. All right, so if you want also, I have this one here. So this portfolio template is from last week, where we left off last week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download that just so that we're all on the same page. If you choose to do this method as well, or you choose just to watch because you have your own code that you'll continue using, that's good too. But it's just to make sure everyone's on the same page. I'm going to download this and make this and continue along with this. Okay, and I'm going to remove the table that I already made in here. I'm going to remove the add form that I already made in here and just recreate that just so everyone's on the same page. So for some of you, it may be a little, just watch. Let's get into my users folder. Code. Okay, I want to git clone me. What is this called? Comp 26. I'll just copy that. Copy that link. Whoa. Copy that link. Paste that link. I wanted. All right. So I got a new folder called comp something. I don't want comp something. I want lesson 6. So let's change that. Let's rename that. Move comp something to lesson 6B. Go. Yeah. I have lesson 6B. Good. As we left off. Now, because if you happen to be doing this, the first thing you need to do is npm install everything, so you get the node modules folder. The second thing you need to do is get your variables.env file. I'm just going to copy my previous variables in env file from another folder that I did. So let me get out of this folder. I want lessons 5B variables. Oh, hold on. We should use the backslash instead. 5C variables, yes, and copy it here with the dot. Dot means current directory. Oh, it doesn't like the word cp because that's a Unix command, but it should like the word copy, I think. Variables. Okay, so that should work. Let me just check if it works. Nodemon. Localhost. Haha, we're up and running. So this is where we left off last class. We had a table. I'm going to erase this table, start from scratch, and we had an add form. I'm going to erase this form and start from scratch just so we're on the same page. Okay, so let's open that folder. Lesson 6B. Close this out. I don't need you. Okay, so we are here. Let's go into our views and into our admin, which has the table. Here's the table. I'm just going to erase everything. Let's recreate that just so that everyone's on the same page. We're starting very slow today. Okay. Oh, I should. Oh. There we go. So I got nothing there. Let's put something there. So whatever framework you're using, there should be like a components and some kind of table there. So this is the table that I grabbed. So I just grab that. All that. Here. Look at it. Where is it? Table. So obviously I don't want some of this stuff and I have to rename some of the columns. So let's do that. I think for this case, this class name is the checkboxes. So if I remove that class, should be gone. This one should be title. This one should be publisher. This one should be image URL. Now, if you already have your table, this is something new that I want you to do. I want you to create 2 more columns in your table, one called edit, one called delete. And here, we don't want all of these TRs. We just want one TR to loop over. I'm creating my edit fields and delete fields. Let's just take a look at what we got so far. Refresh. There we go. So you got your title, you got your publisher, you got image URL, and then edit and delete. Okay, let's fill this data with our data. How do you do that? Well, since we're using EJS file, we still have access to all the variables that our controllers passed us. So if we go to controllers, find our .admin, what did I pass? We passed title, is active, and games. So we can loop over our games to create the TR data. So let's do that. Or let 0, as long as I is less than games.length plus. There we go. So I created the first for loop line. I need to end that for loop, so I'll end it after that TR. Closing bracket for the TR. Then in here, oh, hold on, did I mess up already? Yes, I did. I didn't want that there. That's my headings. Paste. Save. Great. When here, the data is coming from my stuff. So let's say games. Oh, hold on. We want tags. We want games. Title. And let's just see if that works. Refresh. Wonderful. So I got all the titles showing. That means everything else should work. Let's just copy that and replace it here, and change the field to publisher and image URL. And we should be good to go. Ta-da! Great. Everyone's on the same page. Let me just see here. By the way, if you happen to be using this template, get MDL, they actually have icons that you can use that comes with it. I'll show you the page. Where is it? Material. There it is. So if you want to do something special, like say you don't want to write the word edit there, you could say, give me an icon for edit. And yes, here's the edit icon I want to use. You can click on that, and it shows you the code right here. Okay, so to use that icon, you have to copy that HTML code into your code. So let me try that. So I'm going to go into here. So instead of the word edit, which is kind of boring, it's going to get a little more interesting. Paste in my stuff, and let's save that, and let's see if it changes or not. There. So you changed the word edit to the icon, as well as for delete. It happens. It could be delete, but I actually like there's another icon there called delete forever, which kind of looks better than just the delete. So I'll just use that instead. So there you go. Just a little nice thing that you could do. It's not necessary. Great. So just as a review, so in my EJS file, I'm using this games variable. Question, where does games come from? Folder. Start it out. Let's review. So this is my EGS file in the views. Where is this variable games coming from? What folder? Controllers, yeah. So in here in controllers, in my admin, I'm passing that games there, right? So this games is coming from here, which gets populated because of game.find. Question, this is just review, where is this game defined that it knows how to populate games? Where is that coming from? This is just review. What folder? Nope, not EJS. Which folder is this? Models, yeah. So under here, models is where we define game.js, where we said, here, this is where we defined capital G game to associate it with our game schema, which we defined up here. So game itself has all the mongoose operations like find stuff in Mongo, in MLab, remove stuff, update stuff, that kind of thing. Great. Let us move on. So all right, so now we're going to move on to the add, create stuff. Again, last class I just posted a form to add. Let me delete that form and recreate it, or at least show you the steps that I did, so everyone's on the same page. Add game, there it is. Where's my form? There it is. Let's delete it. Actually, you know what? Just instead of me recreating from scratch, I'm just going to remove the styling just to show you what I personally have to battle with. So by default, this is what my form looked like, just using getMDL's stuff. Because I noticed in getMDL, they didn't have any like default form kind of thing code that I could use. All they had was text fields. So it just looks like this. So that's when I just copied their code and put in my code, it just looked like that. So what I just have to do just to make it style it better, all I did was this. So just to make it more obvious what I'm dealing with, I'm going to put a border around this. So there. So this is the whole form tag, which spans the whole thing. So what I thought is, okay, well, let's make this obviously shorter. And by making it shorter, all these fields should collapse underneath one another. So I said, okay, let's force it to have a width of 400 pixels, I think. So by forcing it with 400 pixels, it should be smaller. There it is. Then I said, okay, I want to center it. Anyone know in CSS how to center something horizontally if you're dealing with a block tag? Anyone remember? This one here. So if you just say margin 0 auto, that should automatically center any block element. However, the next thing I noticed is I just want some margin around the border. So I said, okay, well, instead of 0 pixels, let's just make it bigger, 100 pixels. So there should be space around outside the border. There you go. As well as I wanted space inside the border as well. So anyone know how to put space inside the border? What's the magic CSS keyword for that? Padding. So I said padding. Right. Great. And that's it. That's my magical form. So now we're pretty much where we left off in last class. And the only thing that I started off in terms of coding for last class, actually before I do that, is just make sure for your form that your method equals post. And action we'll just say is /add. So if anyone goes to our localhost 3000/add, this will send the data that we input in the field. The other thing I mentioned last class is make sure that your name fields matches your fields in your MLab, just to make it life easy. And the very last thing I said last class before we move on is in your roots folder, in your index.js file, we will say router.post add controller, and we'll just say game. That's where we left off last class. All right, so let's continue. Any questions so far? Now, I'm going to ask you to install a new module because when it comes time to coding this create game, I actually want to use a special thing called request.body.whatever. And after the body could be .title, it could be .publisher, it could be .image URL, or whatever, .id, whatever was passed in the form, or the get URL. I'm going to ask you to install something new. So in your command line, type in this, npm install body-parser. Let's take a look at their npm page just to see what that does for a second. npm bodyParser. So bodyParser is a type of middleware. And here's the sentence. So it parses incoming request bodies, such as a form, in middleware before it gets to your handler code. So whatever you posted in your form, it becomes available under the request.body property. So again, that's why you can get request.body title or request.body whatever. All right, so now that we installed it, we have to actually use it in our app.js. So if you open up your app.js, just like you've up above here where you have all these requires, we're going to require it as body parser. We'll call it const body parser equals require body parser. Then we actually have to use it. So if you scroll down a bit, then you'll start to see all these app.use. That's where we're going to use our body parser. So maybe before we actually use our index router line, before that, maybe make some space there and say app.use body parser. And we'll add a couple of things. One for JSON in case we need it. We don't need it now, but we might later. A body parser URL encoded. True. Let me put a comment here just to explain. So this takes the raw requests and turns them into usable properties on .body. Okay, so everyone's good there. So now we can go and create our create game in controllers. Is that up? So again, we're going to create this function right here. So when someone submits a form with a post method, we're going to get all kinds of form data in the request, incoming request. And so now we have to create this field, this function called create game to handle that. Let's go into our games controller. Let's go at the bottom and let's create that. So exports.createGame equals, and we'll have the default stuff that we usually have. Request and response. Okay. So before I start typing, just realize the big picture is this. Someone just submitted data through the form. That data is not in the URL, so it's not a get, it's in the post, so it's somewhere in the body. We just installed bodyParser, which actually takes that data and puts it on request.body. So if you imagine request.body being an object of three key values, one for title, one for publisher, one for image URL, which came directly from your form. Now that you have that data, what do you want to do with it? You want to create a new entry in mongoDB. How do you do that? This is how you do it. So in mongoDB, all you say is const game equals new game. And inside this brackets, you put in your brand new JSON. Now I could do the long way where I have, this and put all the title. I don't want that. So what should I put in here? So where's this data? Where's this data coming from? It's coming from form, which gets attached to request.body. So what should I put in the brackets? Request.body. that will automatically create a new game, put it in game. I want to save it. So the next line is game save. You're pretty much done. That's it. You've just saved a record. It's totally unlike MySQL, right? Like different paradigm in terms of look, in terms of syntax. Now we have to wrap this in a try and catch. So let me just say try this. Doesn't work. Catch the error. And we'll just console log the error. So after it saves, so think about this, big picture. After you save the new record on Mongo, what do you want the user to experience? Where should the user go in terms of URL? What do you want to do now? Do you want to redirect them? Yeah, so let's redirect them. Now, I don't know if I taught this already, but you can say res.redirect. Did I talk about redirect as well before? Or is that new? Okay, so this is new. Response.redirect. And in there you could say, oops. There you could say, let's go back to the admin page, which has the table. I know you said games there, Thomas, but I think the admin page is probably a bit better in terms of admin. Okay, so let's try it. Let's see if this works. Let's go to our, first of all, am I running NodeMon or something? No, I'm not. NodeMon, yeah, great. Okay, so let's just see how many games do I have. I have 3 games. Let me just add something real quick. So add game. Let me just do Pac-Man again. I'm only doing Pac-Man because Chrome remembers me, so I don't want to type. So I'll just re-enter stuff I've entered before. All right, so let's see if it'll enter another Pac-Man. I'll put here Pac-Man 2 just to be different. Ready? Here we go. Submit. Oh, there it is, Pac-Man 2. It's working. Cool. So we just added something. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot to add another column here. So let me just add that column real quick in my admin views, admin. Let's add a year. Save. Let's check that out. Refresh. Uh-oh, I think I screwed up something. What did I do? What did I do? Am I in the right? URL, edit, everything's moved over. I think I messed up. Oh, yeah, of course. Yes. Thank you. I got to make a column for year. Here. Save. Work? Kind of. Got the column. Oh, how come that didn't work? For the year. Oh, wait a minute. I may not have the year in MLab. I may not have the year in my MLab database. Okay, you know what? I will. That's bugging me. Well, good question. So if I create a new game, what I'm going to show in a moment is there's a cool thing in your models where you can extrapolate. You can do anything you want by having a pre-hook. So just before you save, it can do this pre-save where I was going to show you in a moment where I'm going to extract the year from the image URL and put it into the year. So it's just a neat little feature. I'm just not sure why my current year isn't showing. I thought I had everything right.
Is it in the model?
1, 2, 3, 4. Is it in the model? Good question. Is it in the model? It is in the model. I will leave that alone for now and get back to you. Important. All right, so we added some data. Wonderful. I'm just going to fix up some tiny little things. For example, if you notice the underline, it's showing for home, it's showing for games, but it's not showing for admin, it's not showing for addGame. So I'm just going to fix that real quick. As you may recall, under the header.ejs, partials, header.ejs, I had this little switch statement right here. So I'm just going to do the same thing for the others. Put it in here, and let me put it in here as well. Space, paste, and this will be admin. Oh, shoot. And this will be add. I just added those switch statements, but I should have the underlines. Let's see if that works. It's just a tiny little thing. I had a question. Luke was asking about centering the game. So under games, based on last class, I didn't do anything in terms of centering this. So if you want to center it, what you could do, go to your play EGS file. And to center something, let's take away the heading. We don't need the heading. And to center something, again, under the style, you could just say margin 0 auto. But let's just, instead of 0, I'll just make some more space. 100 pixels in auto. Let's see if that works. Refresh. Enter. Perfect. What is it now? 144. Okay. Now, before we get into deleting, as I was going through this myself, I noticed time and time again, I wasted so much time deleting something, adding something, deleting something, adding something. So I'm just going to do you a favor. We're going to create a new link called fill data, which will automatically fill our table with data. So we never have to do that. Okay, so this is just for development purposes only. So let's, since we're doing nothing with this home field, let's replace this home with fill data. All right. So let's go into our header EGS file. Let's look for our home. There it is. And we'll call it fill data. Both of these. Oh, let me show you a trick too. In VS Code, if you say, so I have more than one lines of code I want to change. So if my cursor is on home, if I say Control-Shift-L, it automatically gets every single occurrence of that. So I can just say fill data. And the href, I want it to go to fill data as well. Let's just see if that works. Refresh. If I hover over fill data, at the bottom left corner, it says localhost fill data. Perfect. Let's do that. Let's go into the roots file and make that happen. Roots file index.js. So if the person goes to fill data, let's go ahead and code something that will fill it up. I said router.get/fill data. We'll go to games controller.fill data, which we obviously have to code. So let's code that now. So under the controllers folder, we are going to add a new module here, or new block of code rather. Exports.fill data. Oh shoot, did I capitalize that or not? I did? Okay. No? Okay, let me just double check. Oh yeah, I did. Fill data equals. All right, so this will get you a chance to be introduced to a new method called insert many. So to insert many records, what the magical line is game.collection.insert many, and then you put all those array of objects inside the brackets here. That's the magical line. So we're going to say insert many data, and we're going to define data up above. I'm going to define the array of data. So const data equals square brackets because it's an array. Then inside here, I'm going to type in all of the different objects. Now, to make your life very simple, I have actually done this for you. If you look under Blackboard, week 6, or lesson 6 here, the first thing you'll see is data to insert. So this is just copy that data. That data, paste it into our variables called data. And we should be good to go. So let's see if this works. All right, let's go back to our browser, refresh. Let's make sure that, oh, you know what we forgot to do? We forgot to redirect them somewhere after it filled the data. So back under game collection insert many, what do you want to do? We want to redirect them back to admin again. Right, so let's see if that works. So admin, I have 4 records. As soon as I fill data, I anticipate that it'll add 3 new records. Fill data, 3 new, there, done. Right, so that it's just an easier time to deal with the upcoming delete stuff. Okay. Any questions before we move on to delete? Still bugging out about this here. Oh, question, yeah. Say that again, sorry.
Why did you put the fill data up there?
Oh, I didn't have to. I mean, I just figure it's just faster for me. Okay, like this is just for development purposes. Obviously, I don't want that once it's published, right? I guess I could have put it anywhere, right? I just needed something to trigger a route, right? Yeah. Oh, there's another question here. Hey. Sorry?
That's not dynamic, right?
Dynamic?
Yeah.
Dynamic. In terms of like, as soon as I click on fill data, it's dynamic because it actually goes and. Yeah. Well, it's not dynamic in terms of, you're right, it's just static stuff, but I only put the static stuff just for testing purposes. Because I'm about to delete, we're about to do the delete function, right? I'm gonna delete like a whole bunch of stuff here. And well, because what I experienced was when I start deleting stuff, just for development purpose, I don't want to go back into MLab just to add insert data just so that this is populated again. That makes sense? Yeah, that's all I'm doing. So this don't get confused about the fill data. Fill data is just so that it eases your pain from having to go into MLab and inserting all of this data one at a time. That's all I'm doing. That's just a time saver. So don't get hung up on that. All right. All right. So let me just see how long this delete stuff is here. Yeah, it's pretty short. Okay, so let's make the delete happen. So obviously, if I hover over delete, first of all, I don't see a link there. I should have a link. Let's go back to our admin.ejs. Where is my, there it is. Delete. I want that to be in a link, so I'm going to encapsulate it with an anchor tag. So question, where do you want delete to go? Let's go anywhere you want. Let's make it go to /admin/delete. Let's see what that gets us. So I saved it, refresh. If I hover over my delete icon, my bottom left corner says I'm going to go to localhost 3000 /admin/delete. But notice how each of these is giving me the exact same thing. So that's not going to help me. So what's the answer to that? I need each of these to be unique. How are you going to solve that problem? Yeah, you need some kind of primary key, some kind of ID. So this is something new here. Actually, no, I'm going to show you something new in a second. So in here, I'm going to insert the ID. Now keep in mind, all of this game stuff is coming from MLab, right? And remember how I said a couple of weeks ago that MLab, Mongo, it automatically inserts a primary key for you in every, yeah. So do you remember the name of that? Yes, underscore small case I, small case d. So if I just copy this and put it here and use their property, underscore small I, small d, save. Let's see if that works. Refresh, hover. My link, yeah. So I see my last 4 characters of this is B5E4. Last 4 characters of that is B5E5. Great. So it's working. Now that we have the ID appended, question, how are we going to deal with that variable? Because everything we've done so far in our routes is, slash games slash some hard-coded path. How are you going to deal with a variable? You obviously can't put some kind of, so anyone know? Kind of like PHP MySQL. Answer is colon, and then whatever, just name it something. Colon ID. That will deal with your parameter. So whatever comes after, actually, I shouldn't have put it there. I should have put it under the, where did I put that? I have to create a new one, don't I? Let's create a new delete router. So router dot get, sorry, router dot get delete, or no, it wasn't delete, it was admin delete, I think. Colon ID. That is new. That will handle the variables. So that means in here, in my controller's delete game, I can actually reference this by something called rec params dot whatever I named it. So I named ID, so this will be ID. That's how to access this magical variable, colon ID, inside your code. You use request.params.id. Now, params is used because we use the get. If we had used the post, it would not be params, it would be body. And that's because we use the bodyParser. We installed the bodyParser. All right, so let's go ahead and code this in our controllers. Game controller. Exports.delete game. Question, what do you need to know to delete a game? Like, what information do you need to delete a game? ID, and we've already passed that in the URL, which we can access through rec.params.id. So the magic line in Mongoose to remove something is game.remove. And here we're going to reference the mongoDB field, which is underscore ID, which will be colon, which is equal to our rec.params.id. Okay, so this is, we're saying, look in my ID field that was passed in the when I was hovering over delete, right? It had that ID attached to the URL. Get that, and that will map to the mlabs underscore ID. Once that happens, we're going to have a callback function. So error, let's check for error. If error, then we'll just console log it for now. And then if not, if everything is good, at this point, at this line of code, the delete already happened. The remove already happened. So what do we want the user to do or to go? Redirect back to admin. And that's it. It's crashed. Why did it crash? Line 9. Oh yeah. Yeah, thank you. Great. So let us see if this works. So refresh. Okay. Let's see if this works. I'm gonna click on this. Let's. Haha. 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 Now, Raman. Now you'll see. I don't want to go back into MLab and insert some data manually one by one. Now you want fill data. Yes. That's why I did fill data. Right. Time saver. Okay. So we've in terms of CRUD, we've done the R for read, which is display data in a table. We've done create, which is add form. We've done delete. The last thing we need to do is edit. It's now at the top of the hour. So take a break for 20 minutes. I'll try to figure out that year thing, that year bug, and yeah. Oh, question, yeah. Oh, not a question. There's no year parameter. That's why there's nothing there. That makes sense. Okay. You know what? If there's no year parameter, yes, yes. Right. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, we'll take a break, and that's probably what it is. Thank you.
So for the midterm, do we have access to codes being written on our computers?
Of course. Yes.
And slides that if we download them, it's just not
Yeah.
essentially it's like whatever you write, you can use, but besides the internet.
Yeah. So like, no YouTube, but yeah, that's pretty much everything. Yeah.
Not like we have to use the database thing that we did last week.
MLab?
MLab,
Yes.
yeah, we have to
Yes.
use that. Okay.
Yes.
That's good.
Hey, did you figure out the stuff? Yes, that's what I remember. That's what I remember. I remember experiencing this. Now, there's two options for this. One is a C name record, but another one I think is called a record. Try the other way. Yeah.
Только не говори, что так
Shall I remove some tank file or
Yeah, sure. Try that. Try removing the C name and try using the other way, the A way. Devang? Yes.
Free from the student pack.
Yes.
Student pack,
Yeah.
just they
He's doing the same thing.
me.
Yes.
But we don't get hosting free.
You're right. So what's going to happen is you put your website in Azure.
That's what I was trying to
And
figure
then-
out yesterday. But the pack which we have on like on the Azure,
Yes.
they don't give us. It is not a premium. So I was looking up in the YouTube. It was telling me to make a virtual machine with DNS and all that stuff. And
I know I did it before using the student stuff that you have now. I've actually posted
Do we have to
a
do we have to
.me
create
using
a
Azure.
Do we have to create a virtual machine and do this DNS and all
I don't
that
think so. Virtual machine doesn't sound like it's too complex for me. See, when I did it, like I used the namecheaps.me stuff, so I got my albertballoons.me.
I have that.
So if you log into the Namecheap website, there should be a place there where you can point it to your Azure website, which actually hosts your
The
stuff.
CNS CNAME.
CNAME, yes, that's it. So that you have to figure that out. Yeah. Although when I did it, I wasn't successful with CNAME. I was more successful with the other way, which is the A whatever, A tag.
But when I'm trying to do that, telling that my Devang Janita Azure website is not recognized.
There must be a way, because I know I did it when I was a student.
I have no.
Yeah. Hey.
Can you throw up the code for the admin?
The code for the admin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Admin, the EGS, you mean?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Again,
So
it is / the ID. Okay. So I was getting admin.
do you want me
/n.
to, sure. Yeah. I think Thomas had a question. Thomas, you had a question? Oh, yeah. Just yeah. Oh yeah, no problem. Did you want me to put it on the screen and magnify it so you could see it better, maybe? Was this one here? Yeah. Sorry. Hey, how's it going?
Coordinator responsibility.
Yes. Oh man. Hey. So when you click the submit button, it should email your Gmail, for example. Say
Directly.
Directly.
But for us, it's doing it first opens the mail.
We did the other way. We thought the other way.
Okay.
So when we are writing like name, email address, and when we hit submit,
Yeah.
then say for example it is your portfolio. If I am contacting you,
Yeah.
then when I hit submit, it goes in my mail,
Yes.
and then I write the mail to you, and when I hit something like when I send, then it sends you the mail.
So it's like that.
So all I know, because when I tried it a couple of days ago, as soon as you go to the contact form, put in some test data, put in like a fake email address,
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Actually, I'll show you what I did. I actually used, I didn't use my personal email. I actually used something called MailTrap. Here. So how this works, you log in using your GitHub. So this is really neat because it has a feature where if you're going to use Node Mailer, then use these credentials. So in your here, this code here, let transporter equals all of that, where it has the host and port. Replace that with this. So var transporter equals whatever host port. And so when someone goes to your contact form, clicks submit, it actually goes to this inbox. You don't have to use your Gmail. You could just use MailTrap. And it works. So as long as it goes there, it works. That's it.
So it opens their mailbox and then in the to subject it has our email ID.
Oh, you mean the
like
client?
Yeah.
So we did the
And
other
then
way around.
it's like you have to specifically open that mailbox and then mail.
It's just like
So
sending
clicking
mail.
the submit button doesn't go directly in the Gmail. That
Thing
Is that
awesome.
because when you click submit, the code behind the HTML code, did you use like an anchor tag, like an A mail to?
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't use the mail to. Yeah, just have a regular button. It's basically a form. And what's going to happen is the path, where it's the action, right? Form, method equals post, action equals whatever.
Yeah.
That action can be, whatever you want, like
What we did,
slash mail.
I took the code from the node mailer of that, and I pasted that in my app.js.
Yes.
I added npm node mailer, then the bodyParser as well
Yes.
in there, and then I pasted that code in app.js.
Okay.
And I tried to figure out in the header, not the header, sorry, the contact us form,
Okay.
and I put that as a like post or something.
Yeah.
And then I run it, it's doing that stuff.
I'll have to look at it. It's hard to just talk about it. So I'll have to take a look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, I see. It's just
Okay, I see.
Let me see your phone contact. Okay, so the action. So let me see your routes. This is going here. So this is when you look at this profile. Listen to what's going on. So in here, erase this render stuff for now, and paste in the npm code. We'll make it look like I showed you. So it's going to run like this. Yes. This doesn't go bring it in.
This goes into context.
That's how like your code. I don't think app.post works. Actually, slides. But if you just have it. But I put all of this inside. So that when our hit contact us, it runs that code.
Yeah, I already have that.
And so this code.
So why isn't it working?
Where are you looking for?
And then
Or you
Yeah. Go with that. Yeah, you're just going to create something.
yeah, anything else?
It's not working.
No, can I take a look?
Yeah, that's like. Yeah.
Pretty good. We just did the add form from last month.
Yeah.
Add stuff.
But operation.
Yeah, cut off. So we basically did everything except edit. Or the update. So we know how to create, which is more, and we just did now. So the next one we're gonna edit.
Yeah.
We're done for the first half. I'll attempt to entertain all of your experimentation coding that I did yesterday.
I like it.
Yeah.
And then, classes.
Oh, right.
It's just the math, right?
Yeah. Okay.
But it's been 20 years.
Yeah. So what do they focus on?
They started off now. Just something I teach, but he's doing it very different than I teach. Yeah. But you always want to do it. Yeah. It's challenging. That part is challenging. The Arduino class is super.
Who's that?
It's Matt. Nice guy.
Cool. So for some of the big data programming, are you? I know you're working with it. Are you also teaching for that? Oh, wow. So what language is that?
Up to C#. And then we get
That's bar, scale, what else?
I don't teach all we talk Scala. It's like very similar to
Yeah, like let me know if you need the library to find song. Certainly. Let me know. See if we can get something for the library. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone looked at the video that I posted on the announcements, but in the pre-class to-dos, I actually listed here, watch 10 things I regret about Node.js by Ryan Dahl, the inventor of Node. So he just gave this talk recently in 2018, and he's looking back 10 years later kind of thing, and saying, this is what I regret about designing Node. So he sees all his bugs that he put in there that he didn't know at the time were bugs, and it's a really, really interesting talk. The last part of that talk, he's creating a new node, so to speak, to correct all of those errors, which is really interesting. He calls it Deno, which is just a rearrangement of node. Anyways, okay, so I did one quick thing. For the fill data, I actually inserted the years there. So for the fill exports.fill data, I actually inserted the years. So I just got that from the image URL there. So now when I say fill data, so let me delete all of this. Fill data, I have the year now. Okay. Now I did want to go back and rewind a bit, back to when we were adding data through the add form. Notice how in the addGame form, I didn't have a place for years because I wanted to show you that pre-hook where you could do something before it actually saves. So this is where I'm going to show that now. So in your models, if you go to open up your models, game.js. So this is where we defined our scheme. But below that, we can define a hook. So what we could do is we could say something like this: game schema.pre save. That's going to do something. So what this is telling the computer to do is that just before you actually save to MLab there, I want you to run whatever I type in this function. So this is a great place to try to extrapolate that year from the image URL before it actually saves. How do you do that? Now, let me put in a comment here. So that this refers to correct. I just put in a comment here that in this case, you don't want the ES6 error functions. You actually want the old style function, only because I'm going to be using the word this to refer to our object. So this which is our object, this dot year equals, and we want to extrapolate the last 4 characters from the image URL, which is the year. So how you do that in JavaScript? Anyone know? So in JavaScript, there's a bunch of methods. One of them is called .substring. So you've probably seen this in other languages. So in this case, let's look at an example. So here's your string, var any string equals Mozilla. You tap on a dot substring. This first number indicates, I think, the start, and then this second number indicates how many times. So, you start at the beginning. I only want 1 character, therefore the result is m. That makes sense. Now to get the last 4 characters, you can use negative values. I think, let's see if there's an example here. Negative. I thought there was one here. Actually, you know what? I think it's not this one. I don't think it's substring. I think it is substra. Let's try this one here. Substra. Okay, so substra method returns the part of the string between the start index and the number of characters after it. I think this one has the negative. Yeah, there we go. So to get, for example, to get the last 3 characters of Mozilla, you have to say .substra -3. Okay. So obviously, what's the answer for our code? This year. We want this image URL .substra what? Those in the brackets. -4, right? Last 4 characters. So this should, and the last thing you want to do is you want to call next. Next, there. So I just coded this pre-hook so that before I actually click on save or submit for adding a form, it will first do this before saving it, and then I should thereby get the year. So let's try that out. So let's click on addGame. There it is. Let me delete one. All right, so let's add in a game or a trail, whatever it was, and there. So this URL has 1990. Okay. So if I say submit, it should extrapolate and put 1990, and yes, it does. That is just a demonstration of something called .pre, which is a method you can use to do something before saving happens. FYI, you could also do .post, but we won't get into that. Okay. The last CRUD functionality we need to do is edit and update. So similarly, let's start off with our links. So right now, my edit column needs links. So let's go into the admin EJS folder, or file rather. And let's make that happen. So edit has to be a link. Let's put a linker tag. And let's make it go, where do you want it to go? Let's make it go admin edit. And just like here for the delete, where we said this variable, right? We're going to do the exact same thing for the edit. So after edit, it'll be slash, and then the game's ID. Okay, so let's see how that looks. Let's see if that actually works in our web page. Refresh. Let's hover over the edit link at the bottom left corner. It says last 4 characters of E37E. Next one, I hover over the next one. It says 6642. So it's working. It's unique. All right. So now let's make it happen in the routes. In your routes index.js, we're going to do something similar to edit. So let's say router.get. User wants to edit something. We'll have this special variable. So that's why we say :id, which will capture that. And we want it to run gamesController.editGame. We will now create. So let's close that. Go to our controllers folder, game controllers.js, and make the new code for that. Ports dot, what did I call it? addGame. Okay, so what do you want to do? How do you normally edit something? What are the minimum pieces of information to edit something? We need an ID, which we'll use to find the record. And then once we find the record, oh, hold on. My bad. I think I did this wrong. Let me just check something for a second. Nope. Okay, no, sorry. We just want to display the form, right? So when we click on, hold on. So when we have the table and we click on the edit, we basically want to see the add form again, except we want the fields to be populated with data, right? So in my edit game, the big idea is we want to render our own EJS except with the form populated. So let's do that. Game.findById. So this is the Mongoose way of finding the record in MLab. Mongo. Well, just like before, we pass in the ID. So this underscore ID is the MLab's version, and we're saying that will equal to our whatever we just passed in the get URL, in the link. And then once it finds it, it'll either error out or give us the game. So this object called game right here, this will be populated by the time it finds it, and we can use that to our advantage. So let's first check for errors. If error, log it for now. Else, if everything's okay, let's render our own EJS view. So response render, and we have to create our addGame.ejs still, but for now we'll do that. What variables do we want to pass to it? Just like the other ones, we probably want to pass in a title. We'll call it edit. We want to pass in the game, which it found. And just for CSS purposes, we'll say is active admin. Let's see. Oh, that will still give us an error, so we have to create our EJS views. So because I want our addGame.ejs to be pretty much the same thing as our addGame, I'm just going to copy addGame, paste. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. addGame.1.ejs. Let me rename that to addGame.ejs. And that should at least give us a view. Let's see if that works. Is nodemon running? Yes, it is. Let's see if it works. Let's go to on edit. Let's see if I get a form. Yes. So obviously, what's wrong with this view? We need the fields to be populated. How do we do that? All right. Let's go to our addGame.ejs view. Does anyone remember for this input field tag, does anyone remember what is the name of the attribute used if you want to insert some data in that text field? Value. You're close. Placeholder is there to, I guess, prompt the user to type something in that box, but value is the correct answer. So if I just, as a demonstration, if I just say value equals something, refresh the page, get that something in the text box as if it was typed. So now we can obviously put in whatever values we want in there. So because we want the title in there, let's put in the title. So let's see if that works. If this works, then the other ones should work. Fresh. There we go, right? SimCity, it's coming from this ID here. Let's do the same thing for the other values. So let's copy and paste the value and insert it into the other input fields and just change the fields. So the title will be publisher. Instead of one, it'll be, well, let's see if that works. So let's go back to our admin view. Let's click on edit. There we go. Oregon It's getting the right data too. Wonderful. Now, obviously, once I click on submit, nothing really happens. So SimCity, change it to SimCity 2, nothing happens. Oh, that already? SimCity 2. Hold on. That doesn't, let me try Oregon Trail. Oh, it just added it. It didn't edit. Okay, so it did something in my my routes there. Okay. Oh, right. Yeah. So in the edit game EDS folder, notice in the form method, the method is post, but the action should not be add. That's why it was adding records, because this is not correct. What should it be? Edit. Let me see. What was admin? Actually, no, this is a good question. This is a very good question. And this is where I got hooked, trapped up when I tried this myself. So the problem is this: you can't actually specify. Okay, the question is this: what should I put in action here? Can I say /admin/edit/ whatever that :ID? Can I say that inside HTML? Will it recognize that :ID? No, the answer is no. It doesn't know what to do with the :ID. However, the trick is to put no action, because if you put no action, delete action altogether, it actually posts to itself. So whatever the URL is currently, it will go to that same URL but post. So let's make that happen. So let's go to our routes index.js. Let's make a router.post. Router.post admin edit :ID. So this is when someone edits something in the form and clicks submit. What will it do? You want it to run game controllers .update game, which we have yet to code. So let's do that now. Game controller in our controllers folder, game controller. Let's add a new export .update game. Right, and then we'll say, so the magic line to update something in Mongoose is game.update. And just like before, it needs an ID. So same thing as before, we'll say _ID :rec.params. It from the URL. Then here's where we tell it what to update it with. So we're passing in an object. And remember, just like before, where the object is encapsulated in the rec.body. So all of your fields are in rec.body already. So we just pass in rec.body, just like before. Let's just check for the error. So if error, else at this point of the code, everything has already been updated. So we just want to redirect. That's it. Update a game. Let's see if it works. Let's delete some stuff just to. Okay, so I'm going to change this one to Oregon Trail 3. Let's see what happens. Oregon Trail 2, Oregon Trail 3, submit. Does it work? It works. Cool. That is everything. Those are all the CRUD operations. Any questions or comments? Yeah. So let me talk about the midterm. So as I said before, everything you need to know about the midterm is not today's class, but last week's class. So as long as you know how to display data from MLab into a table format, you're good to go. If you want to get prepared for midterms, I would recommend that you do all the quizzes that you haven't done yet if you're in that boat, because I've included some of the midterm questions, multiple choice questions in the quizzes that you still have yet to do for some of you. So do the quizzes now if you want. Yeah, the quizzes, there's 2 tries for it now. So if you don't get perfect, keep track of what you got correct and then try again, kind of thing. Now for the midterm, there's 2 parts. The first half, you'll get 30 randomized multiple choice questions from a pool of 50 questions. The second part is coding. That's where you'll deal with the table format, displaying from MLab. So I'm going to give you a screenshot of that table. I'm going to give you the data to insert into your MLab, and you have to recreate it. That's it. And again, today's class of create, delete, update won't be part of that exam. Okay, so I did the midterm yesterday. It took me like 45 minutes. So I don't think you'll need all 3 hours. Yeah. What I had planned for the remainder of the class is I'm going to attempt to entertain you with my random experimentation of coding with the delete function. And this is where I'm coming from. So in your delete, I forgot to mention this. In your delete for your admin.ejs, in terms of user experience, what's the matter of this? Clicking delete and seeing it gone. Yeah. Yeah, you could click delete by accident. So what should happen? Traditionally, what have you been taught to do? Yeah. Okay. So let's do that, and then let's not do that. I'll show you why in a second. So let's do an "Are you sure?" So in my anchor tag, I can put like an on-click thing here. I can say return, confirm, and are you sure? Save. So let's fill some data. Good thing I have that filled data. Right? All right. So then I'll say delete. I see an alert box. Are you sure? If I cancel, it won't do anything. If I say OK, it'll do something. Right? OK. That's what Rich Freeman did for his class. However, upon further research, I found this article. I don't know if anyone has heard of a List Apart website. They have some really good web articles on there. The title of this article is this: Never use a warning when you mean undo. So this article, written in 2007, in terms of user experience, it argues that it's actually bad user experience to have that prompt, are you sure? What you should rather have is the undo. And come to think of it, when Georgia College switched my work laptop, right, with Windows, the prior Windows, when I clicked a file, click delete, I see, are you sure? Now, Windows 10, I click a file, I click delete, gone. Right away. No, are you sure? But I can always Control Z to undo it. Or even in Gmail. If you have Gmail, you delete your Gmail email, and then it erases right away. It doesn't say, are you sure? But what does it have? It has that little thing at the top that says undo. So I want to do that. So I'm going to attempt to entertain you with my my journey in trying to make that happen. And I'm going to do it a couple of ways. I'm going to do it the get MDL way, and I'm going to do it the materialize way. So get MDL, they have a component here that looks kind of cool, that kind of fits that purpose. It's called snack bar. So this is what snack bar looks like. Click on the button, and this thing on the bottom comes up. And notice it has an undo feature. I want that. I want to make that happen. Materialize, they have a component called, it's under JavaScript, called toast. Toast, so if you click on toast, you get this thing here. Although, if you scroll down, there's a toast with action. If you click toast with action, you get the same thing. I want that undo. So here is my journey, warts and all, of how I did this. You don't have to know this for any midterm. You don't have to know this for any assignment. But in terms of professional look in the future, you may want to keep this in mind. So the first thing I want to do is in my delete function, I found this one method instead of remove. So the problem with game.remove is it removes the game, but the problem is I want that game. I need that information from that game in order to undo it. So I found this one method. I'm going to delete all of this for my delete. Game.find by ID. By the way, if you don't want to see this, you're welcome to go home, because again, this is just me and my musings. Named find by ID and remove. So just like before, I'm going to enter the ID. However, I'm going to introduce something else here. This here, this is the new thing. So when it finds the record, it removes the record, and it gives you this variable called docs, which has that record that was deleted. It already removed it from the database, but at least you have that record. All right. Sure. Just to prove it, what if I just console log whatever was deleted, and we'll also redirect the user back to admin. And so in my console log here, I should see the deleted object. Out, refresh. I'm going to delete Oregon Trail. So let's see Oregon Trail in the prompt. There it is. ID Oregon Trail. Wonderful. So now I can use this information to recreate the record if the user clicks on undo. At least I have that to my disposal. Right. Then I researched something else. And this is where we have to install a new package called Connect Flash. So maybe in your other classes like Comp 1006, you've used session variables before. What Connect Flash does, it's basically like a session variable, but it makes life easy for you. You don't have to keep track of deleting your session variables and stuff like that. What it does is you can set a message that you want to display, like successfully deleted. And then you can call something else, and you can get that message back in another piece of code. You'll see what I mean in a second. So I'm going to install a new piece of module called npm install connect flash. As well, I'm going to install another module called express session. Just in case you didn't know, you can actually do this. You can actually install multiple packages in one line like that. You don't have to say npm install one package, npm install another package. You just say it on one line. And then in my app.js file, I'm going to get that. I'm going to require it. Const session equals require express session const flash equals require connect flash. Now we have to actually use that stuff. So scroll down, you'll see all the app.use stuff. Let's put it right above our stuff here, make some space. So the first thing we have to do is create a session. So you say app.use session. And then here it needs some kind of string to hash the session. So I already have some kind of string in my variables.env file called secret. So I'm accessing it there. Let me explain these other options in a second. So what's happening here is, so the sessions are used to keep users logged in, and it allows us to use flash messages. This parameter here, secret, it basically needs some kind of string to hash it or encrypt it, so you'll use that encryption for your session. This property called resave, every time your user interacts with the browser, if this is true, it refreshes their session, so it doesn't time out. This save uninitialized tells Express, don't open a new session as soon as someone visits our site unless they actually log in. Kind of thing. And then below that, oops, what did I have here? What is that? Hold on, did I do that right? App.useFlash. And then one final thing is, I'm going to explain this in a second. I'm going to store all those flash messages, something called res.locals. And I call next to keep on going. Okay, so this line here, where I say rec.locals.flashes, everything in the future, when I code something saying, and I'm setting a variable into Flash, like successfully deleted, whatever, it'll store it in this rec.locals.flashes. So I can access it later by saying rec.locals.flashes.message, something like that. Okay. That's just the setup. Now let's actually use it. So back in my game controller for my delete game. So here, I've deleted the game. Okay, let's get rid of this console. We don't need that console. I deleted the game. I want to use this flash. This is how you use it. You say rec.flash. The first parameter can be really any string you want. Just like in Bootstrap, where you have those alerts where you can say success, warning, info, error. Same thing here. You could say that same kind of thing. And then here I'll say successfully deleted. Question, I want to say successfully deleted the game title. Question, what do I put in these brackets? How do I access that? So again, find by ID and remove. It removes the record, but it gives you the record back, the deleted record back. So here, docs, I can say docs.title. That'll give me title. So now, here's the tricky part. So the next slide is it redirects to admin. So now I have to go to my admin, and then I have to access that flash message within admin. How do I do that? Here. I'm going to pass in a variable called message so that I can access message MSG through my EJS file. And this is the secret. So res.locals.flashes, remember that? Yeah. So obviously, this res.locals.flashes came from here, right? Because it remembers that. And when I said before, where's my delete? When I said rec.flash success, that became the new key that was added to flashes. That I can access the message. Okay, so I know it's a little long-winded, but we're getting there. So now in my admin AGS file, let's just test this. I'm just going to test this. I'm going to change the title to MSG just to see if I get the title. Let's refresh this. I'm going to, I hadn't renewed. Refresh this. What do I get here? And not flashes of undefined. What's the matter with that? Flashes and game controller flash. Oh, there. So instead of rec.flash, I need rec. Oh wait. I have a finished product in case this doesn't work. comment here? This one? Session. It needs to be closed that one, needs to be closed that one, needs to be closed that one. I don't know why it, I think my prettier and ESLint are battling each other out. I'm not sure why that's the case. Yeah, that's okay. That should be fine. Get out, students, that's okay. I'm not sure why. In my app. I connect Flash. What around somewhere? I think Flashes is undefined. Where that is. Okay. Plan B. Finished product. Close folder. Folder. Okay. Note on this. All right. Admin. Delete. And now you just see successful undo. Oh crap, I missed it. Fill data. Try it again. Delete. Undo. Yes. Delete. Undo. Okay. I might have mistyped the word flashes somewhere. I don't know. But the last word we left off was admin.egs, I think. No, this is just pure speculation and investigation and experimentation on my part. This is just pure curiosity, and I'm sharing my journey with you. Enjoy. And for those of you who have used Materialize, I did it here too. Look, so I have a Materialize thing. I actually like theirs better. The toast, delete, toast, undo. And this is cool. I can actually swipe it away. Delete, delete. I have multiple deletes, so yeah. Anyways, I wish it went better. I'm not sure what happened, but in terms of where we left off, I don't even know where I left off. Games await sort. Oh, right. So messages. So in my games controller, I said there, message equals res.locals.flashes.success. So I have access to that variable called message in my EJS. So in my EJS, if I look for a message, I have this. Okay, yeah. Here's the big takeaway. I'm just going to delete all of this for a second. So here is my admin page as it is. Okay. If I view the source, oh crap. All right, let's try it again. All right, if I view the source, just take a note of code underneath the table. So I have slash table, immediately followed by slash footer. Do what I had before. So if I say if true here, I'm using right the EJS way. If true, then it should display that code. So I save that code, refresh, and look, now I see all this code, including the script tag. So the big idea is I can test whether or not a message was passed by just saying if message, right? In JavaScript, this is sort of like saying if message equals true. I don't have to necessarily say that. I can just say if message. And that will give me whether or not it should display that flash message or not. So let's try it again. Delete. It shows, but if I just refresh, it should not show. Refresh, refresh, refresh. It shouldn't show. That was where I was going to end up with. Sorry I didn't take you there through my live code, but you'll get a chance to do live coding for your student presentations. Yeah, so that's basically it. If anyone wants my code for that, let me know. And it's applied if you use Material CSS. Any other questions or comments? No? All right, so just make sure you do all the quizzes if you want to get insight on the multiple choice questions. So do all the quizzes maybe today, tonight, whatever. That's it. So feel free to ask me your debugging questions as you're doing your assignment. Let me shut off my recording. Yeah, in Blackboard. Yeah, just let me show you where they are. Under weekly learning, you'll see quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3, quiz 4. And oh yeah, I should say there's quiz 4 as well. So do all the quizzes, including quiz 4. All right. All right. Let me shut off my recording. I think I didn't shut it off yet.